Okay. Do you hear it? Are you getting it? Yeah. Okay. We still have the overhead speaker on, but, okay, so I'm going to call the Select Board meeting of Tuesday, July 9th, 2019 to order. And the first item is approval of the agenda.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any recommended changes requested changes to the agenda?
Why do we call it special select board meeting for this one?
That was a typographical error.
Okay.
Okay.
They're all special.
We are all special.
Yes, we
It's
are
very
all
special. Okay, all in favor of the agenda as drafted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, next is approval of minutes of our June 25th Select Board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any requested changes?
I had one small one.
Okay,
On line 88, it says Assermily thought the infrastructure committee hadn't wanted to go in this direction because it kills all the bugs, etc. I thought it was the tree committee and not the infrastructure committee. Do you recall?
It was the tree committee, you're right, good catch.
So I would just request
Mhm.
that we change that infrastructure to tree. And I didn't find anything else.
any other ones? Okay, with the small word change, all in favor of approving the amended minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We have an abstention. Okay, citizen comments, there's no one here is this besides your floor time?
Yes,
Oh, well, please, chief.
this is under singular citizen comments.
Oh, yes, worthy.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Daniel Alinger. He is our newest police officer. He started on Monday. He replaces Scott Fisher, who retired in March.
Oh, well.
So he went through the gauntlet of the selection process, which started last fall. And by April, we made an offer to him. Of course, we didn't have anything to do with him until the academy starts next month. So he's here for a few weeks for orientation, then he's departing for 19 weeks.
Then off to the academy.
Back to basic training, and he just had basic training 3 years ago with the Army. So,
Uh-huh.
back to the fun times again. Anyway, so welcome Daniel, and feel free if you want to ask him any questions.
Welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to see. Big shoes to fill.
Yes, sir. From
You
what
look
I
like you're ready for it, though.
Mhm.
You represent yourself very well here.
Thank you, sir.
What unit did you join in the Army?
I was infantry at 10th Mountain in Fort Drum, New York.
You're over at Fort Drum.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we got a hard charger here, Chief.
That's right.
Do you live in the area, Middlebury?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What interests you about the police department?
It's the progressive community that Middlebury has to offer.
Cool.
It's always a challenge, and having just my second day working with the department, there's so much geographic area to learn here, and I love the difference in cultures that I've seen throughout the town. It seems to be something that will always be challenging and rewarding at the same time.
Great.
Of course, if you're at Fort Drum, that means if we get 3 feet of snow, you'll sit there and say it's just flurries.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you on board.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to Middlebury. And
Thank you, man.
Mhm.
When did you move into the area?
It's the September timeframe of this year.
Yeah,
I took my leave from active duty.
Yeah.
And that was around when I had applied to the department. And since then, I've just been working throughout the area and doing odd jobs until I got hired by the agency. So,
excellent.
Great.
Okay, well, good luck going through training,
thank you, sir.
and we'll expect to see you back in one piece in how many weeks? 9 weeks?
19.
19 weeks.
He'll be on the road by himself in February. Sometime in
February.
February, that's how long it takes. He'll have 19 weeks at the police academy and then another 12 weeks training in-house. Field training under supervision, so then it'll be cut loose hopefully sometime by the end of February. Takes a long time to replace somebody when they go. It'll be
Sir.
almost a year.
Yeah, 31 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you'll be under the microscope of the community. So after you're out from under chief, Good luck. So,
It's a good force, that we're glad to see you added to a fine force.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming in tonight and introducing yourselves too, so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Good. Good luck. Go for it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chief, we're just gonna do quickly the first-class liquor license.
Okay.
So, Town Hall Theater is seeking the board's approval for a first-class sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption. Liquor license application for the former diner restaurant at 66 Merchants Row, adjacent to the existing theater, to be used for special events and flex space. And we have the inspections.
I'll make a motion to approve the first-class liquor license application for Town Hall Theater Incorporated for the former diner restaurant at 66 Merchants Row.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Nice paint job.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool, huh?
See, now we don't need a mural, because that building looks like a mural.
It really
I
does.
still think we should have a mural, though.
Okay. Well, it jazzed up that corner of town for sure.
Certainly memorable.
All right, any questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, Chief. Now, Chief's going to talk to us about some requested minor amendments to some ordinances.
Yeah, periodically, I go through the ordinances to make sure they're up to snuff and they're current and contemporary and actually mean something, and we look for what's missing. So I found a few here. The first one was in the town park definitions. The old definition of the town park, the Ilsey Library Park, made a reference to the Middlebury College facility that was here before the building was built, so it's just kind of getting it up to speed. I'm suggesting that the boundary of the park be Cross Street rather than naming it a property, so that would encompass the plaza in the front. It would just kind of tie it all together as a park, so it would come under town park rules for park closing and things like that. The next one dealt with a definition of motor vehicle in the parking regulations. I think this was either an oversight or a typo when this was done. The word "except" was removed, so that included trains and everything else from the parking ordinance, which I think that was an error. The definition in the motor vehicle department exempts certain things from the parking ordinance: farm tractors, rails, trays on motorized highway building equipment been being used, that kind of stuff. Our ordinance does not, and I think that's in conflict with the state statute, so I just amended this so it's compliant with the state statute. Actually, it reads the same. Under the ordinance for the regulation of traffic lights and signs, we have a number of stop signs that have gone up over the years at intersections. Some are private, some are public, but there aren't in the ordinance, so there's no enforcement on any of these stop signs. So I listed them at Collins Drive coming out of where MREMS is, onto South Street, Eastview Terrace on South Street Extension, Lodge Road, coming out to Middle Road and South Ridge Drive, Manelli Road, eastbound at the intersection with Exchange Street, and Porter Drive coming out of the hospital onto South Street, just so these can be enforceable stop signs. One of them obviously is a public road, Manelli Road. So I would like to see those added to the traffic ordinance. And then there's some speed limit issues. We had two roads that do not have speed limits on them, and we've been getting some speed complaints, primarily involving students coming out of the Hannaford Career Center on Manelli Road. The superintendent there, the principal, Dana Peterson, is concerned that we can't enforce the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit because it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. So I've done a traffic study on the road. He gave me a supplement on some of the traffic patterns on the road that he did himself. And so it looks like we're going to make that a 25-mile-an-hour road based on, it's got a fairly high pedestrian use, a lot of turning movements with vehicles. So we're recommending that Manelli Road be a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And the last one is Industrial Road from Manelli Road to the wastewater treatment plant. We did a speed study on that road as well, and it looks like we're going to recommend a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Your memo may have said 30, but it's 35.
Yeah.
And that is it.
So there's the very last thing on this said commercial activity on town property. And it talked about the suggestion to add internet transportation services to the exceptions to the ordinance. Does that mean they would be allowed or wouldn't?
I'm gonna defer that if I could and have the Public Safety Committee deal with that. That, and there's been some recommended changes to the bicycle ordinance as well, and these are a little deeper. And I think we need some further research and a little more discussion on those before we bring them to the board.
So we're not,
So no, we're not gonna do,
we're crossing that one out for
Right.
tonight. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Questions of chief? On the speed limits, is that something that went through the safety committee, or is that standard? You would just make a recommendation based upon a traffic study?
yeah, typically if there, like, that road doesn't have a speed limit on it, so we had to start from ground zero. So typically what I'll do, generally either based on speed complaints or some other suggestions, go out and do a traffic study on a road, and then come back with a recommendation on what the speed should be. Sometimes it's updating an old speed limit. In this case, there is no speed limit, so we wanted to start from ground zero. We're required to have a traffic study on file, so I've got one. The form is filled out, and that'll be turned in with the town clerk once this becomes an ordinance.
Questions for chief? Okay, pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion to warn a public hearing on the proposed amendments, updates to the speed limits, stop signs, parking, parks, and commercial activity on town property ordinances for the board's August 13, 2019 meeting.
Moved and seconded.
Lindsay.
Seconded by Lindsay. Okay. So we're moving to a public hearing, and after which we could adopt these changes, recommended changes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Nice article on Chris Mason, too, in the Addy Indy. Tough duty for anybody.
Yeah, it's not one of the more pleasant things that we do.
Yeah,
Do what we must.
yeah. Well, your department always represents you well, and we appreciate your continued recruitment of these fine guys. Tough to find, I know.
It is tough to find, and sometimes we go a long time before we find them, because there's
Yeah.
a lot come into the door, but
Right, worth it.
kind of would rather run short than just
Yeah.
fill spots, just to put bodies in there. So I'm pretty proud of them. They're all good officers.
Yeah, well, I think you've done a good job selecting them, chief, and thanks for, we're expecting you to stay another at least 10, 15 years, right?
I don't know about that, but I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Good.
And there's plenty of good guys to take over for me. One day, the young kids are gonna have to take over.
Yeah. When are you playing next? You got any gigs local?
Yeah, where we're going? We're going to Maine and then Massachusetts and New
Well,
Hampshire.
that's not
and-
local for us.
Oh, I'm trying to think, where are we going local? Playing at the Champlain Fair again,
Are you?
and then at the Lamoille County Fair, and then, there's a bunch of them. I don't keep track of that.
Yeah. Well, we gotta get the two brothers to get you back in there, so.
Yeah, then we're off to England and Ireland in the fall, so.
My daughter's going to school over there for a year.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, you gonna be playing over there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a whirlwind. We're going there for a week, and we've got a bunch lined up, and then we gotta get back.
No kidding.
It's like then we gotta get back, like we gotta try to find a ship or something.
I'll go visit my relatives on there.
You're a musician, aren't you?
Itinerant musicians, what a life. I'll shovel coal on some freighter somewhere to get
Pick
back.
up a job on a cruise ship playing all the way across.
We couldn't be without you for that long, chief.
We have anybody join you over there, any of the locals, or,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yep, there's a couple that we know in England,
yeah.
and they'll be joining with us as well. And we're playing at a big festival there and somewhere outside of Birmingham.
No kidding.
But then I've got to jump over back to Ireland to go visit my relatives, so I'll spend some time, a day or so with them in between. So it'll be fun.
That'll be fun, yeah. Well, I hope you have a good trip.
I hope so too. It could be miserable if it's not.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
anything for chief?
Actually, one little side question. We were talking about enforceable stop signs. What happens in a place such as a parking lot, a commercial lot? I'm thinking, for example, out of Shaw's, where those stop signs are. Are those enforceable? What's the story on?
No, it's a private road, although they're open for traffic, they're not ordinanced, they're not supported by ordinance, but it's more of a civil issue.
Okay.
It determines the right-of-way, and if somebody obviously runs a stop sign, it would go in, it creates an accident, it would go in an accident report as the person at fault went through the stop sign, but they're not enforceable.
Just hadn't thought about it till just now. When you were talking.
Yeah, years ago, we asked the plaza to put stop signs for some traffic control in that lot because we were getting a lot of people crashing into each other, especially at the exits. And they put them in about 20, 22, 23 years ago, and that ended a lot of that. So sometimes they're there just to direct traffic, but there is no authority attached to the sign. You don't see a little placard on it saying Town of Middlebury or something like that.
Okay. Good, appreciate it.
Educational. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
You ready with check warrants,
I
Heather?
am. I am ready.
It's gonna be the shortest meeting in.
This should be like
History.
8:30.
I move to approve total expenditures in the amount of $551,227.29, consisting of.
Somebody's eager.
He is like ready to get out of here tonight.
Second.
Consisting of $419,506.33 for accounts payable and $131,720.96 for payroll for the period of June 26, 19 through July 9th, 2019.
You ready?
Ready?
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, Kathleen, Town Manager's Report.
Just to note that the 2019 legislative wrap-up from VLCT is in your packet, and as is the 2019-2020 VLCT legislative policy. You remember last year when we had Gwyn from VLCT come down and talk to you about the legislative policy, that was for a 2-year period. So there won't be a similar opportunity this year to vote on legislative policy, but the board may want to think about at this time what your schedule for the winter with the legislators might be, and when you'd like to have them come in, either before, during, and after the legislative session.
Yeah, I think there was general feeling
good.
amongst the board that that was a good visit and that we would have appreciated an opportunity to do more, so let's think about that.
It's actually interesting, the idea of before, I hadn't thought about that, but that could be
Yeah.
kind of fascinating before they really get into the whole effort, maybe sometime in December.
Well, it's the second year in their biennium, it's also, they're already started on some bills. They know a lot of what they're gonna be undertaking, and so it won't be as wide open as it would have been before last year, so probably help us know where they're focused. Good idea.
Sounds like we agree.
And then just one more thing. I have an email here from Dan Werner, who said that he just spoke to Derek Lyman of the Vermont Agency of Transportation. And Dan suggested a timing change from 7:45 to 8:15 at the Hannaford's traffic signals to lengthen the through phase. This usually means the side approaches get less time. Derek thinks that he will have time to look at the sequence later this week to see if he can tweak the phase timing. He said that he might try incremental timing steps to see how any changes are working. Of course, school is out for the summer, so that changes the traffic load considerably. Just wanted to update you on that.
Middle Road.
So again, they're studying it right now, and they will be into the start of the school year, so that they'll get more
Accurate.
accurate feedback on.
I'll make sure it does.
Okay.
About 3 people asked me about that light after we talked about it. I felt very, what's the word, omniscient?
Uh-huh.
You know, because I was able to say like, oh, are you talking about this? Cool. So, but obviously it's been a problem for a lot of people, so I'm glad we're getting some movement on it.
board member concerns. Nick?
We already took one of them with Chris Mason. That was, just shows what a class act we have for police officers, so that was nice. Another one was for, congratulations to Paul Garrow and Pat Shaw, our firefighters. They received a Medal of Valor for the work they did on the Murdoch Court fire a couple of years ago, which was a pretty severe incident, and they definitely showed heroics in that. Blue Spruce Hotel, I keep hearing about that one. Is there progress on that one that we say is coming forward?
Jan Murray
Mhm.
reached out to the owner of the Blue Spruce Motel for an update. I've been in contact with the Benj Putnam about possible next steps, and depending on the update from the owner, I'll be coming back to you with a fuller update.
Good, thanks. That's just a
I
good
thought
news.
we moved past asking the owners. Didn't the DRB made it ruling that they gave them a 30-day and that
Yes.
passed, and they gave them another 30 days?
That's what
So-
Jen followed up on, was that they were delinquent on having a response to that.
Thanks. And then the final thing is just to wish our colleague Victor well as he gets ready, hopefully in a couple of weeks, to run back through that door. He will be running. So,
Lindsay?
Doesn't the town look nice in summer?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's really, really
Mhm.
nice. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly who is in charge of the flowers, but it's just everything. I walk
Yes.
around all the time thinking like, this is a nice place to live. So I just thought I'd give a shout out to whoever's in charge of all of it, because it's really looking great.
Yeah, some of it is the town rec department, and some of it is Neighbors Together,
I
who,
thought Neighbors Together was in on.
who handles more
They
of
did
the
the
potted
faucet.
plants back at Main Street and Merchants Row by the post office. It is beautiful.
The town did some additional work and stuff around the post office though with, I think that was town, right? With some plantings and some pavers around by the post office that I think looks really nice too, so.
Heather?
I'm good, thank you.
You good? Laura, I know you've got a couple
Well,
things.
again, I'm wearing the shirt. It's Festival on the Green Week. It's really wonderful, again, not only to see the color of the town, but all the vitality that comes with the music that we get for free this week, both at lunch and in the evening. And the music has been phenomenal, and it's been full, down there. And it's just wonderful to see the ripple effect on our businesses. People are eating out, they're just socializing. It's really just a wonderful event that we look forward to each year. And Neighbors Together has been working with Porter Hospital and Rise Vermont to promote a Come Alive outside event called the 30 Miles, 30 Days Walking Challenge. So that'll be kicking off July 16th next week. So it's challenging us to walk around downtown to get practice, like on just how fun it could be and beneficial it can be to walk about town and be rewarded for that. So you get a little log book if you register, and you track the times that you've been walking, aiming for about a mile a walk at least. And they've tracked some routes for us, and you can join them on Tuesdays through the summer, July 16th through August 14th at 5:15 p.m. at Mary Hogan School. And you're accompanied by a health professional each time. And the first walk on July 16th, you get to meet the new Porter Medical Center president and hear
Salim
from
Chaudhry.
him. Yeah, so you get a little card like this that I've shared with you that show you the lineup. So the 30 miles and 30 days walking challenge ends at the block party on August 14th. And you turn in your passport book at that block party for a chance to win $100 in Middlebury money, which again goes right back into our downtown to support our businesses downtown. So it's a win-win, and I'm excited about it, and I think it has so many benefits. So I just wanted to thank those that organized that, and hope that our select board will participate too.
I'm doing it.
It's good for all ages. And you can get your passport at the Festival on the Green this week. Or you can get it from, where, Heather, did you see? It can,
On the form here, it said, you can pick up a mileage booklet at the National Bank of Middlebury, Isley Library.
Wellesley
or
Library.
from
Yep.
Neighbors Together Volunteers at the Festival on the Green.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Farhan?
I don't know if anybody had noticed that Green Mountain Power is adding a charge on our bills for emerald ash borer tree removal. So I don't know how that, our town efforts fit into that. I saw the notice that came with my bill. They say they're going to, for removing ash trees threatened by the new invasive species of emerald ash borer. So there's a charge going to be on our bills. So is that in their right of way, is that what they're doing, or?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Mhm.
Okay. So,
So just to note that they're taking action, just like our,
yeah.
and it has an impact on our bill.
Like
We're paying
everything
for
else.
it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Victor, looking forward to see a brand new Victor when he comes back. Godspeed. Hope you feel better soon.
I have just a couple things. Looking for an email I got from, there was an email that was sent out. I can't seem to find it right off, Kathleen, but maybe you have seen it, but it's about a change in the stormwater permits. And it has a number of properties within the community listed, including many of our public and industrial properties. And it'd be interesting to know, because Spenge noted that there's more going to be coming forward on that, but that was kind of a surprise to me. A lot of that is, will have some tax implications, and so.
I'll take a look at it and report back next meeting.
Had you seen, yeah. Had you seen it?
Yep.
Oh, you did see it, okay. Were you the one who sent it to me? No, okay. I didn't think. So anyways, we ought to try to get somebody who knows about that to tell us how that's gonna impact us. And Lindsay, I had the same observation. I had to be up in, at my Derby store this morning at 6, and so I got a chance to see all of the construction on 100, and that we're not alone in having the downtown construction. It was, Waterbury and Stowe and a lot of towns that rely on tourism are having construction. We actually have less right now going on than some of those, and so.
Brandon's still a mess.
Brandon, when it's done, certainly a lot of the state's downtown infrastructure is going to be in better shape. That was probably necessary, but it's very noticeable. But my point that was, even with the construction and everything, there's none of them that have the beautiful gardens and flowers and green space in the middle of their downtown that we seem to have and be blessed with. So. Certainly shows well. We have a executive session, I think, to follow up on some contract discussion that we hopefully can bring to end.
In accordance with Vermont's open meeting law requirements, I move that the board find that premature general knowledge of the consideration of contracts would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its litigation strategy if it discusses the contracts in public.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I further move that the board enter into executive session to discuss contracts under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second again.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Executive session, with that.